Welcome back to Marbella Now. I'm Nicole King.
Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Halfway twisted.
Welcome back to another week of what's going on behind the scenes in Marbella Now. I'm delighted to welcome as my first guest the lovely Rosy Cortés, who is from the École Française Internationale de Marbella, and they've been open just over a year, and it's lovely to celebrate that with a catch-up of how things have been. Rosy, bienvenida, welcome. Really lovely to see you again.
Happy to see you again, Nicole.
So how has the first year been?
So first year has been wonderful. We had 65 students last year.
And wow.
So from 3 years old to 10 years old. And now, this year, we have 110
Congratulations.
students from 3 years old to 12 years old. So we have opened new classrooms.
So gradually, is the intention to keep adding
Yes.
different years to get to 18? What's the plan?
Absolutely. The plan is to go until what we call in France the baccalaureate, which is bachillerato at 18 years old. So we are going to be a full French lycée.
Are things going according to plan? Are you opening on time?
Absolutely.
Because it's very difficult to launch just after COVID, but the
Yes.
reality is that.
Correct. That's true. That last year was just after COVID. So it was, for some of the kids, it was coming back to school after one very difficult year. And I think we're very happy to go back to school because they have friends, they have teachers in front of you, and of course, parents also were very happy to have the kids back at school.
From what I've seen, the level of French education is very high. I don't want to disrespect any other
No, of
country,
course.
but it's a very all-round education. Can you give us a little brief summary of what
Yes.
kind of things, as from 3 years old, that it makes
So-
your school special?
The specificity of French education compared to other, again, without any disrespect, is we are focused more on analytical and critical thinking. So that's really the specificity of the French education. We like to have people thinking, able to think by themselves, able to understand how to see if something is wrong or true. You know that in media there is, I guess, all this stuff about what is the source of information and being able to decode, to understand.
To be able to work it out for themselves.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the main specificity of French school.
That's a very important factor.
It is very important because this is what gives to people the capacity to adapt. And the world today is changing. Every day, everything is changing faster and faster. So for the kids, for them to be an adult tomorrow, it's important to have this ability to adapt to anything. We don't know what will be tomorrow.
And it sounds silly. A lot of times people don't understand that when they go to a different country, that the education of the country might not be in alignment with what they're used to back home, but they don't understand or know to even ask if it's going to be similar. And I know that the Spanish education is different to the British
Of course.
and to the French. So it's important to, I think, understand what kind of concepts are being promoted. Is it only French speaking or is it
No,
bilingual, trilingual?
It is trilingual. It is trilingual. So, of course, the curriculum is French. The main language is French. We are fully accredited by French government and part of a network of 26 French schools in Spain and Portugal. All over the world there is 500, I believe, something like this. So we are part of this. and the main language is French. But we have a specificity compared to other French schools, is that for us it's essential that kids learn also very well English and Spanish. So we are only hiring native English teachers and native Spanish teachers, and of course all French teachers are native also.
Again, makes a big difference.
Yes,
I remember saying to my children when they were in the Spanish school in Madrid, well, English must be easy for you because you. And then they said, no, it's another language. Like, what do you mean? So she'd say, well, okay, what does good money keys mean? Buen dinero llaves, I don't understand it. Yes, the teacher says, good money keys for good morning kids. So a native speaker, again, important.
It's very important. And it's true that for kids, they have the ability when we are very small, let's say from 3 years old to 6 years old, it's the best moment to be exposed to a new language because the brain has full capacity to learn new sounds. You know, for example, in French, we use the U. U for most of Spanish people is very difficult to pronounce.
Yes.
Because this kind of sounds, you can get it when you are a very small kid. So it's very important to offer to the kids the possibility to learn language as soon as possible.
Do you only accept children that speak French? I understand from the little ones, perhaps, you're allowing them to go in if they don't speak French, because from 3, 4, 5 they can pick up a language. But do they need to have a level of French when you get to the bigger classes?
So bigger classes from 7 years old, we are ensuring that they have a minimum of French. This being said, there is exceptions. We are having some kids, some Spanish or English or Russian kids that comes with 7, 8 years old and they don't speak French. In that case, what we do is that we offer extra scholar hours of French to help them to get it.
And children still at that age, I know the optimum is before they're 6, but until they're 9, it might take a little bit longer, but they'll get there.
Absolutely.
Especially playing with their friends.
Yes, because they're in immersion with, we have, let's say, 70% of French kids right now.
Where is the school located?
It is in Calle Jacinto Benavente.
Oh, it's here in just behind us.
Yes, it's very close to here, close to the Piruli, where the British school was previously.
Oh, you're in the British school?
Yes.
Well, in the British school.
Yes, in the
That's
same building.
Very nice premises.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Again, congratulations.
Thank
we'll have
you.
to come by and check it out.
Oh, yes, I will be very happy
Do you do open days for people to come and see the school?
Yes, absolutely. We organize visits on demand, and there is also 1 or 2 open days in the year. But at any moment, people can come to visit with a meeting, an appointment, sorry.
Well, it's absolutely fabulous to see that the school is growing and that the enthusiasm is equally as high.
I would say more enthusiasm.
It is important. If we're foreigners living abroad, I think our children need to understand and relate to where they come from. And having an education that's synonymous with the way we think and want our children to grow up is also important.
Absolutely.
And again, the Spanish education is lovely, but it doesn't promote free thinking. So these things need to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely. And that's true that we see in most of the French lycées in Spain, the majority of kids are not French. If we look, for example, in Malaga, French Lycée of Malaga, they have 60% of non-French students. And in Madrid, I think it's almost 70%.
Well, I have to say that through my life, and my kids and now my baby is already 28, but through my life, I have very much taken into consideration these factors. And I've always heard that the French education is a good education. So all round, and enchanté. Merci beaucoup.
Nicole.
À bientôt, j'espère.
À très bientôt. C'est un plaisir.
And don't you go away, because we'll be back in just a moment of more what's going on in our wonderful city.
Zero Hero welcomes at Wheels Cafe.
Everyone that comes and wants to join our Zero Hero Association, they will have free non-alcoholic drinks at our venue at any time.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hoganstown. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign. And we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
We are
Someone asked me this morning how Marbella is doing, because apparently in other areas of the Costa del Sol, they're not as enthusiastic as we are down here. But things, as I replied, are really picking up here, and I'm looking at everybody who's having their hair cut and getting ready for this next season with enthusiasm, which is why I'm delighted to welcome back to the program Christopher Clover of Panorama Properties, because like every year he's just published their new property report for 2022, and it 100% reflects the feeling and the feedback I'm getting from our community, which is things are really looking up, Christopher. I've even got goosebumps. It's exciting, isn't it?
Well,
and welcome back to the program.
Nicole, thank you so much for remembering me and for asking me back. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
You are an icon of our community. I mean, those who don't know, it's over 50 years, 52 years that you've been selling property, and not just that, representing our city, giving it legitimacy, because you are very validated in everything you do. You make that a priority from what I've seen.
Well, we try to document what we say. Of course, real estate agents' job is promoting their properties and promoting the place that we live. And what better place to promote than Marbella and the Marbella area? Because indeed, Marbella is Marbella, Estepona, Benaviz, and our other neighboring municipalities, even Istan, which form one real market area in which we have an amazing variety of properties in different residential areas in different prices. But
your systems are, like you were saying, that you're the only real estate company that has 3 of your members who are chartered something or other. Who do you flips it?
Well, Panorama is an agency which is regulated by RICS, which is the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors.
That's it, that's what.
And I'm a fellow, and we also have 2 members, including my daughter Katinka and our assistant sales manager, Alfonso Munoz. So we're the only real estate agency, as of a few months ago, in Spain, which is regulated by this international prestigious organization that has over 130,000 members in over 135 countries around the world. RICS, for the people who don't know it, you'll probably see the initials. Remember the initial FRICS, which means Fellow of RICS, after appraisers or valuers' names. So they're best known because they regulate valuation of properties on an international basis and are the benchmark for regulation rules and ethics.
I have to say that it's an admirable, your history, your trayectoria here in Marbella, the validations you have. And I also, without trying to sound condescending, I was very proud to see when the LPA was formed, this association with the founding groups of real estate companies, and now all the others that I've seen have joined in, because Marbella is renowned for competing. Everybody trying to get over everybody else and this sleight of hand, and yet to see that competing companies have joined together for the greater good of the sector is just heartwarming. In fact, which is why I was mentioning about my United Nationalities Marbella Summit. You have to share this. How do you do this? Because it's fundamental, obviously, for success. Hashtag Better Together.
Well, I think that it's high time that we have an organization where qualified agents come together and work together to improve their knowledge, to share their experience, to share their properties and to protect the buyer and seller clients that are out there. Under one name, I'm honorary president of the LPA, and Jose Carlos Leon is the president, who's very active. He organizes meetings, conferences, educational issues such as anti-money laundering sessions about to learn. So the younger agents who are members of LPA can learn about the details in the necessary legal aspects.
That actually brings me to your report this year. Always interesting, very nicely written that people like myself can understand what it's saying. But I did pick up on that a lot of properties being sold over 4 million euros, that this seems to be the highest market. There's a huge demand, and it made me think, now you're saying the money laundering, do you actually get to see where this money's coming from, that these people are bringing in this big money?
We can't introduce a buyer to a seller. We can't introduce lawyers unless we know who our client is, unless he's complied with all of our anti-money laundering regulations, which are not ours. They're Spanish and they're European-wide. No? So, yes, there is control. But getting back to the essence of what's happening here is the Marbella has stepped up a whole level to another dimension. It's now a household word throughout Europe, evidently with people who can afford holidays here, or others who can afford to buy a second home here, or a second first home.
Yeah, and a lot of people also, following the whole COVID and having to work from home, have now opted to work from home and realise that this is a very easy place to get to and leave from and come back to work from here. So I understand there's also a big increase in
Well, look
that
at what's
aspect.
happening to the economy. We now look at last winter. There wasn't a winter season. There wasn't a low season. We were, before 1995, Marbella was an area which had its high season, basically, and then gradually, end of September and October, rolled up the sidewalks and battened down the hatches to last the winter. Most of the hotels closed in those days. But we received a critical mass of population between the registered residents, which 25 years ago, 1995, was 100,000, and the floating population, which were about 50,000 at that time, which gave us a 12-month season with its high and low and shoulder seasons. But what happened last year? We finally stepped up, and there is no more low season in Marbella. Everyone is busy. The amount of sales, for example, that we saw the first half of this year increased over 2019 by 80% over the first half of the year. So there is a general recognition of the quality of our city, of the quality of the governments of the city, and as much as it is not only the numbers that you can see in the statistics of sales, which we've published, which are available in our market reports, which you can access at www.panorama.es. But there are other factors. It's the hotel occupancy. The statistics are there. The month of June this year, 3 months ago, was Marbella had the lowest unemployment figure, the highest employment of any city in all of Andalusia.
Which is very inspiring. Also, there's been a lot of tax breaks by the Andalusian government. They've changed a lot of taxes and reduced taxes, removed taxes, which also, I imagine, influenced people being more interested.
Of course, the elimination of the patrimony tax was a major obstacle for very wealthy people to come here. They said, just out of principle, I'm not going to take up my residence in Spain or have my tax, even as a non-resident, have my patrimony tax, because non-residents also paid patrimony, wealth taxes. Out of principle, they wouldn't do it. Now they can. Now we have the government who wants to change the constitution, basically, by saying, well, they're going to put another patrimony tax on, which is not their authority to do. It's the autonomous regions who do that. That will be settled in the courts.
So watch this space, basically.
But also the municipal government, 15 million euros in savings that they announced last week in the Pleno Extraordinario. We're living in an amazing economy, and with people from all over the world, in one of the very few areas of the world where there's multiculturalism, but without the problems that multiculturalism has suffered elsewhere.
And also, as you concluded in your report, the summary, and it's sunnier here, and it's nice here. We've got the Gulf, we've got the ocean, we've got everything, and we've got Christopher Clover, who is so emblematic of our community in real estate, and also just as an outstanding member of the community. Please do go to the website, because I'm sure you've got a link to people to read the whole report. It is fascinating. You would think it would be boring, but it's not. It's absolutely interesting. Christopher, thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
And I will see you very, very soon.
www.panorama.es.
Yes, also been on the screen. It just
Thank you so much.
Don't go away. Back in a moment of what's going on in Marbella Now.
G-Wine is happy to be your partner.
How cool is that? G-Wine.
Thank you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a zero-hero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Joining me now is a lovely young man, originally from Manchester. You wouldn't think about it being Manchester with the way that he's come. He's absolutely embracing the Costa del Sol, but also everything that is natural. Joining in with a fabulous project with Breathe Marbella, who just celebrated 4 years in Marbella. Congratulations. And they're doing a great project to plant trees, and this was a project that Marvin had, and he presented it to Breathe somehow, and it all came about, and I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed, not to be condescending, but in the sense of, you're just a normal bloke from Manchester, and look what you've done. I mean, it's like, tell me more. How did you do it, Marvin, and welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me. I guess I have to go back a few years. 2009, lived in South Africa. Saw children begging for food. Having been brought up in the UK, I wasn't aware of the level of privilege I'd experienced. However, seeing children, when you come out of a nice restaurant, begging for food, just gave me a reality check to the level of blessings and privilege I've experienced. So I decided I wanted to do something. Came back to the UK, identified that the best way to lift people out of poverty in a sustainable way, the kind of people that we help, is through trees. Trees are a panacea. If you take a community, the kind that stand at the back of a truck collecting aid, you educate them on the best way to use their land, you give them tools, you give them infrastructure, you supply them with 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 fruit trees, you're giving them a sustainable way of life. You're removing their reliance on handouts. And it's very much, as I'm forever told, it's the give a man a fish principle. We give people exit strategy aid. So over 4 to 5 years, we work with communities and empower them so that when we leave, they can put food on a plate, they can sell fruit, providing them economy for them to be able to pay for things like education and medicine. And ultimately, it's simply about providing people with what we take for granted, and that's the real basics of life.
Could I ask why, in the sense, if the land is fertile enough to grow things with you giving them trees, how come these countries are in the situation they're in? I mean, how does this happen?
I'm not looking to get super political here.
No, I don't mean it in that sense. But it's just shocking, though, to think that something as basic in places where I've seen some of the videos, and it's lush vegetation, and it's hard to think that these people can be that hungry, that the situation is like that. Is it just not knowing how to do it, or?
So there's a combination of things. and some of those are very political and go back literally hundreds of years. However, in a more recent kind of time frame, these people have been told monocropping works. If you have a field and you have one single crop and you do exactly what we do in the West, unfortunately for these people, what they'll find is, first of all, the soil over time becomes degraded, nutrients and minerals are gone, and unlike in the West, they don't have the ability to harvest once a year. They don't have combine harvesters, they don't have storage, they don't have ways to move vast quantities of harvested fruits. So what these people really need, first of all, they're in a position where they are chopping down trees and turning it into charcoal to earn $2 a day. And yes, from our privileged perspective, that doesn't make sense. But put you in a position where you can't feed your children tomorrow, what will you do? And the answer is probably anything.
Yeah.
So part of the journey is about educating people on the best way to use the land. Land is not the issue. And yeah, after it's been depleted, you have to teach people and show them how to make that fertile again. So,
how did you get to collaborate with Breathe? I mean, it's such if you haven't been, I was so impressed. I don't know if they do the entertainment all the time or if it was a 4th anniversary, but what a fabulous place. And the service was 10-star. And you can go to expensive places that aren't necessarily that good. And it has this so sustainable. Everything they do is for like protecting the planet in all their aspects of the restaurant, and now getting on board with your project.
So I'm going to go back slightly and then I'm going to fast forward. So in 2009, when we started planting trees, we got an endorsement from the United Nations Environment Programme about the fact that the trees that we plant, we work with restaurants. So an initiative that we operate, which is what Breathe started 4 years ago, is called carbon-free dining, where for every bill that's presented, the diners have the option of including a gift tree to offset the carbon footprint of their meal and also help people move out of poverty. And when Breathe launched 4 years ago, they started planting trees, and they have planted they've planted over, it was almost 2 weeks ago, they've now planted over 40,000 trees. So the people of Marbella have planted, because it's them that pay for it, Breathe are the facilitator, and that's really what's changed in the last couple of months. So they've gone from being a facilitator of adding it to the bills to the founders, the owners, the people who built this building and this phenomenal restaurant, which is all about sustainability. They decided that they wanted to do more than just adding 123, 149 to the bills, depending. So what they decided to do is they wanted to launch an initiative with us where we will plant the trees, but what they will do is engage with people of Marbella and invite them to plant trees, to go to an online store and plant trees. And over time, instead of planting 40,000 in 4 years, they want to be planting 10,000 trees a month, using the people that they know and the generosity and the fact that everybody in this area is privileged. We're all privileged, and really it's just a way for people like you and I to give back and share the blessings that we've experienced in life.
Yeah, one of the lovely things the other day with Aguilén doing the presentation and with yourself was the fact that Aguilén just said to everyone, copy us, go ahead and copy. And because there is an objective, this isn't for Breathe to make money, this isn't for anything except promoting the concept. And any restaurants who want to get on board, Breathe isn't going to say, this is my idea, the opposite. They're saying, this is my idea. I'm getting goosebumps. This is the idea. This is what we're doing. Please go ahead and do likewise. So I love that, because it revalidates that this isn't just a marketing gimmick. This is true. This is real, and very much in concept with the restaurant.
See, obviously for me, this started on a desk in a bedroom, cliche. But we've got over 200 restaurants globally that plant trees. We planted 2.7 million trees. It took 10 years to plant the first million, 2 years to plant the second million, and by the end of next year we should be planting 1 million a month because of restaurants like Breathe and because of people like Aguilén. But yeah, the idea of people joining our movement, which is to plant 1 billion trees by 2030 and lift 1 million people out of poverty.
And you can actually go on like a map thing and actually see which tree is yours. That's a very cool added incentive.
So from an engagement perspective, we're aware there's hundreds of companies out there that plant trees, but what we wanted is to deliver value to restaurants and engagement. So when a diner dines in one of our partner restaurants, yes, they can go onto the world's only platform where you can zoom in. Every time we plant a tree, a photograph and geotag and the type and the farmer, that's all recorded.
And that's a lot of work and organisation.
Thankfully, I have a fantastic team behind me. But yeah, you can go and choose your tree, and every visit that you make, you can then add another tree to your own personal forest, whilst at the same time the restaurant is increasing the size of its forest.
Well, absolutely just impressed. It's lovely to see that one person, I'm sure you got a lot of people saying it couldn't be happen, and that you have made it happen, and that you're really doing great for the world. It's lovely in Marbella that we can participate and get the recognition. People like to know they plant a tree, this is where it is, and they're contributing. We don't have time for any more at the moment, but I would like to thank Marie-Noëlle Erise, because it's only thanks to her that I'm getting to meet probably 18 times this week, Marvin, because we're going to Breathe for the press release, and I was very privileged to be there on Saturday for the 4th anniversary, and therefore I can honestly say I was blown away with the service. It really was 5-star. You managed to get your tree, you're doing something good, and it's entertaining. Great place for families, so kids get bored if they just go for dinner, and that certainly wasn't just going for dinner. It's an opportunity for them to also realise that you can be luxurious, you can be 5-star, but you can also have a heart, and that's what it's all about. Marvin, really lovely to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time over the last few days.
It's been hopefully the first of many times we get to chat to keep everyone updated on this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Marie-Noëlle, also for Christopher Clover coming in telling us about his property report, which again I encourage you to read, because I normally find those things boring, but it really wasn't. It was absolutely heartwarming to see how well Marbella is doing, and the forecast is good, so keep your chins up. Don't go away. Back in a moment.
Zero Hero, welcome here at the Gaucho de Banús.
Welcome to Lemongrass, Doña Lola. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, Kazakhstan is proud to welcome the Zero Heroes. So come on in and enjoy free soft drinks for anyone who is the designated driver. Thank you, Nicole.
So here we are at Everest. Very cool.
Yeah.
Stickers going up.
Hi, my name is Govinda. I'm from Everest. Welcome to Zero Hero, to Everest Fusion, to enjoy your cocktails, drinks, and happy hour as well. And food, of course, is delicious. Thank you.
Welcome to Sister Taperia. Perfecto.
Joining me now is a beautiful young lady, thanks to Kate E. Hill, lovely designer of children's clothing. My granddaughter has someone that's absolutely fabulous, and she's a charming young lady. So Katie from Signature Allegra Marketing kept on saying, you have to meet a friend of mine. Her name is Estelle. She's a really positive person, good vibes, and you'll love to have her on the program. So here she is. Estelle, welcome.
Well, here I am, and how amazing that you said, you don't know much about me, but you just know I'm all about the good vibes. And that is like, if that is my introduction, then I'm happy with that.
I mean, you're coming in with my colour. This is 100% my favourite shade of pink. Anyone who watches the show regularly knows that this is
actually,
my colour.
and Kate will love this because it's fuchsia pink is like so in season, this season and next summer as well. So get as much fuchsia pink as you can.
So where are you from, Estelle? What's your story?
So my story is, I'm from Liverpool. Okay, I started my woman in business story 13 years ago now. I opened up a Bikram yoga studio in Liverpool, and my journey has just gone on from there. Like, I've gone on from a yoga teacher to an entrepreneur. I do children's yoga. I've created my own brand of yoga for children, which is Yoga Bears. I now teach teachers to teach yoga, and that has also led me to mentoring women as well. So obviously I've mentored my Yoga Bears teachers for years on how to create the Yoga Bears classes, but also how to apply everything that we give to the children with their superpowers, how we can apply it to ourselves, and how we've all got our own
the inner child,
personal,
basically.
Yeah, but our inner superpowers, like, we've all got them. Everybody has them. They're called chakras in the yoga world, but they can just be named as energy centers. So I'm just all about that magic.
It's you've got a great vibe going on. You obviously want to
as
enjoy life.
As of you, like, completely. Like, that's why when I met you, I think I met you at the
Marbella International Film
exactly,
Festival.
like, and I totally just loved your vibe. You could just see you were so liberated, and like, liberated is just like, for me, is when I see someone who's completely and utterly comfortable with who they are, and I think that's the most beautiful.
But it's something I think we do need to work on, in the sense of, I've got an age now, and you get to an age where you suddenly realise that other people's opinions aren't so important. More important what you think of yourself.
Exactly.
And that we need to think of ourselves. We need to pay attention. I know that with my granddaughter, since she was tiny, that I would say to her, okay, let's just stop a second and breathe. And I see that when she does that now, she's going to do something. If she needs to concentrate or she wants to be present, she stops and she puts her hands together and she breathes.
It's magical, and that's like one of the reasons why I created children's yoga. I mean, to be honest with you, my path, I've always worked with children, so my path was always to work with children. However, it became even more significant for me because when I was teaching adult yoga, the first thing that many of them would say was, I wish I would have found this when I was younger. So for me, it's just, children are natural yogis. When children are so, like, I want to stay as childlike as I can and believe that anything is possible. And I want children to know that anything is possible, because it is. And I think, like, with little, you know, with just little rituals that you do per day, just getting your breath, being calm, tuning into that inner voice, that helps you to stay tuned in to the magic that anything is possible.
Yeah, because we all have these voices in our heads. You know, it's always like the good angel, bad angel, as I would talk with my kids. And sometimes you just need to stop the chatter to just let everything settle. How old do you start from with a child?
Oh, from the womb, like, absolutely. Like, you know, from when we're in the womb, you know, every vibration, every spoken word, every the conversation that goes in and around us makes us who we are. You know, and I think that's how, like, as a mum, when, you know, the most precious, you know, time for me was having my little babies inside, and I still think of it so magically now, because, you know, and I love that saying, like, nobody else will ever know the sound of your heartbeat from the inside.
Oh, that is so cute.
You know, and it's so true, and I think that's the ultimate vibration that they have, which is the vibration of love. And I think that, for me, is where life starts, where life continues to be forever. And that's why we're all divine, because we all have the capacity to love. And I believe that the more we love, the more unconditionally we can love, the more happier we are. But that unconditional love has to start with us.
But they do say that, don't they? You can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself. It can't be genuine. You have to love yourself first.
Honestly, and I've just been having a conversation with a friend before here, and, like, you know, we were talking about, like, how, you know, to have the best relationship, that first of all you have to be completely comfortable with who you are, and not needing that other person
to complete you.
No, because you're complete. You know, they're just an amazing addition, and if we're lucky, they'll be a person like my husband. Like, I'll tell you a funny story, Nicole. So today, when I was coming to the studio, like, I got a bit lost, and I always think when challenges come, and I took a complete wrong turn. I ended up like 20. I was by Opium, which you will know.
It's a long way.
It's a long way away from here. But I was like, okay, I'm not good with maps, but I'm good with keeping cool. So trying my best to keep cool, and I did. But I did speak to my husband along the way as well, and he was like, he's my person who I can, and he'll calm me down and help. So I think it's really important for us as people to have your tribe who will help you at times when you need it.
Keep only around you the people who make you feel good and are there to help you.
Exactly.
The rest, get rid of.
And, you know, and if people, you know, you could be blocking them as well as them blocking you. So you have to move away from people. And I think people pleasing was a massive thing for me that, you know, I realised, like, a lot of the times I wasn't being soulfully and completely who I am because I was trying to please other people. And when you're trying to please other people, you can't be authentically you.
No, and the thing is that when you do that, they normally aren't pleased anyway.
No,
and
they'll
so
just
you
want
don't
more
do what
and
you
more.
want. You don't get the satisfaction of having pleased them. So you might as well just do what you want.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
And then to see what happens.
And then everybody loves it even more because everyone then wants to follow what you're doing because they see how happy and enthused about life that you are. One of the major things for me, like a major transition moment this year, has been my mentorships for women. And I work with a lot of women who, like me, have children, but their children are now becoming too a little bit older. Like, for me, I have a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, and I have Lennon, who's 3. So I've still got my baby, but a lot of women who may have had children, you know, in their 20s like me, or who have just got older children, they're realising now the children don't need them as much. So they've lost themselves throughout being a mum. And they're looking for who they are now. They want to get back to their true authentic selves because I think as mums...
It really is a process. It's not easy.
Honestly, we can think that in order to be the best mum that we can be, you know, we have to lose ourselves when actually it's the opposite. And that for me, I'm lucky. That's what yoga gave me. That's the biggest gift I think that yoga gave me was that.
A lot of people think yoga and they're thinking of standing on your, you know, on one leg with one knee above your shoulder and all these weird positions. As I understand it, especially listening to you, there's a lot more regarding breathing, state of mind, and it's not just poses.
No, it's definitely not. It's a body, mind, soul connection. And I don't believe that one can be fulfilled without all the others. Like, I think, like, you know, for instance, you know, we live in a world where everyone wants to be, you know, body perfect. And we're all perfect. Like, we are all completely and utterly perfect. And just because, you know, Instagram has this perfect image that none of us probably really look like, that doesn't mean that is perfect. We're all perfect and beautiful versions of ourselves. However, if you have an aim of somewhere where you want to get to, if that is just solely done physically, and you've still got that ache inside that comes from your soul, no matter how perfect that you think that you look on the outside, you're never going to be fulfilled because your soul is yearning. So for instance, you could be in a job that you really know is not your dharma, it's not meant for you. So, but your body is completely perfect. You're not going to be happy, are you? Because you're not following. So it needs to be body, mind, soul. And because of my entrepreneur journey, a lot of what I'm leading towards now is body, mind, soul, business balanced, because that's been a major turning point for me, is how I have become very empowered within my own business. Because, you know, I'm a yoga teacher, but I'm a businesswoman. You know, I've got 3 businesses.
Wow.
You know, and, you know, I've got a studio in Liverpool that's still going strong, and it's going, I've got an online business.
So tell us about the studio in Liverpool. What's
Okay, so the studio in Liverpool started off as a Bikram yoga studio, and then I realised quite quickly that I wanted to add lots of different types of yoga. I wanted to add lots of different elements of fitness. So now we are Liverpool Yoga Studios, and we have aerial yoga, we have fitness classes, we have gym, we have hot classes. So we just have everything plus the yoga bears. And I just believe, as anybody who is in business knows, you have to completely and utterly evolve. Just keep evolving. You can't stay consistent. The only constant is change. So you have to move. And I wouldn't even say you have to move with the times. You have to move before the changes. You really do. You have to be, you know, thinking.
You're a very savvy young lady.
It's connecting with your own creativity, and there's loads of things. Like, I done an event at Centro House last Thursday, and I was in a room of entrepreneurs, and it was so amazing to listen to the stories, because everybody was saying they just had this idea. It didn't make any sense, but they just done it, and now they have a successful business. And
but that's the best way, isn't it? Because you get it flow as opposed to trying to force things and overthink them.
Yeah, and we spoke a lot about an inner prostitute. Like, there's an inner prostitute archetype. Like, a lot of people associate prostitution with obviously selling the body, but we can massively prostitute our souls by staying in financial security. Because we're staying in financial security even though we know that we're going to be happier over there following our heart. You know, and it's like, it's such an interesting philosophy. And when I first heard it, I was like, it blew my mind.
Yeah, Jim Carrey actually said something about that his father would have been a comedian, but he took the accountant job to look after his family, and then they laid him off. So Jim Carrey said he didn't follow his dream, to follow the steady money, which then disappeared anyway. So he might have well taken the risk and been happy.
Exactly, and that, you know, someone like
there are
Jim
no
Carrey,
guarantees.
No, nothing's guaranteed. Absolutely nothing's guaranteed. But we can actually guarantee our own happiness.
And I like that. A good note to finish on.
Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
so delighted.
Oh, thank you
to
so
actually have
much
chance
for having
to chat
me.
with you.
It was divine.
I had a lovely evening at the Marbella International Film Festival. I got to sit with people like Kate, the lovely children's wear designer, and meet Chelsea?
Haley.
Joe.
Estelle.
Really gorgeous girls.
It was, and I
That was
think
just so
again,
good.
and like I always say, your vibe completely and utterly like attracts your tribe. Always.
Hashtag better together. I'm sure this is the first of many chats. It's really lovely.
And I can't wait. And I want to interview you. You'll have to come on my podcast very soon.
Okay, that's a promise.
I look forward to it, my dear.
Thank you ever so much.
Oh, thank you, my gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
A new partner of Zero Hero.
Alright guys, so I'm the designated driver tonight, so I'm going to choose the Zero Hero place. So all of my soft drinks are for free. And if you want to go somewhere else, just check out the Facebook, Instagram or the zerohero.es website for any of the bars, discotheques or restaurants on there. I'm happy to go anywhere you want to go, as long as it's Zero Hero.
It's a brand new day.
Zero Hero, welcome to the Secret Garden. We welcome you.
It's a brand new. Hey, hey.
The British Chamber of Commerce is one of my collaborators for this year's United Nationalities of Marbella Summit, coming up on the 24th of November. From 11 in the morning till 3 p.m, from 11 to 12:30 is the actual event. This year we're discussing communication, how to get our messages across to 140 plus nationalities. So really cool. And they had a lovely meeting this morning, and I wanted you to see what goes on at one of the British Chamber of Commerce events, because it is well worth taking into consideration no matter what size business you have. Good morning.
I'm Regional Vice President for the British Chamber of Commerce here in sunny Andalusia. I'm a member of its governing council. Today has over 300 members, 300 member companies spread across our 5 regional offices. One here in Andalusia, which is actually in Laude School, the other in Madrid, the other in Barcelona, our new office in Bilbao, and our London centre now, which we've set up recently. So that provides a link between the UK and Spain. The Chamber is the only British Hispanic trade association in Spain, and we work very closely with the British Embassy in Madrid, the Ambassador, and the Department for International Trade. Tomorrow in Madrid, my pleasure to welcome you all here today to our business breakfast, one which we haven't had for a long time, sponsored by today Paris de Valga Abogados, who will be speaking. We put on, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 events. First one was in January. We had a forum, Financial Freedom Through Financial Education, in collaboration with Hugo Investing in their office in Marbella. March, we had a business breakfast with Mark Sanderson, who's the International Development Director for the city of Malaga. That was held at Marbella Golf and Country Club. That was a very interesting event. In May, I held our AI flagship event at Malaga Tech Park in conjunction with the Department for International Trade. That was a big technology event, because that's my thing, and that worked extremely well. In June, we held the European Business Drinks in Malaga. So in Spain, there are a number of foreign chambers, and we hosted the event in Malaga. We had about 12 foreign chambers there, and it's held also in Madrid and Barcelona. We'll be holding it again next year. In July, we held in the Ayuntamiento in Malaga our barometer of trade and investment in Spain and the UK. The Chamber puts on a barometer every year, and it's sponsored by one of our committees. It's called the British Investment Committee. It's made up of 9 or 10 of the largest British investors in Spain, and it's run by a company called AFI, which is also one of our members, and we presented this in Malaga Tech. The Chamber has a number of committees within it, which most trade associations have. The Advocacy Committee basically looks after innovation and sustainability of Spanish and UK businesses. We have a Culture and Talent Committee. It's a think tank for senior members from large companies to think together to work as a group. We have an Education Committee. We have a number of schools in the Chamber, and a number of large groups in the Chamber, like Cognito and International Schools Partnership, which is Laude, where our office is down here. And also we have, as I mentioned, the British Investment in Spain Committee.
I would like to thank you, the British Chamber of Commerce for...
I didn't necessarily want my granddaughter to play rugby, but I did want her to be part of the Marbella Rugby Club. The atmosphere there, the setup is 100% like I would expect from a community club to be. It's exactly like we had back in the UK. It's got a clubhouse. They've got rugby from basically the under sixes, my granddaughter's just turned 4, all the way up to the bigger blokes. It's a lot of fun, and I thought when I was there the other day I'd just record a bit and show you that there is no limit for age and that you should all check out the Marbella Rugby Club. Also sponsors of this year's United Nationalities Marbella Summit.
Hay que ser más rápido.
Run fast.
Hay que ser más rápido. Fetka.
Otra galleta.
Are you ready?
Corre mucho, ¿eh?
Are you ready?
No, pues va a correr que no te lo quites.
Correr, Martín, corre. Ya, bien, Martín. Ori,
Good job. Good job, Lakey.
Ready to get the ball?
Get it, Lake! Get it, Lake! Get it, Lake! Get the ball!
Oli, ¿qué pasa? Oli, tú ya pasaste por sub 6, ¿vale? Muy bien. Venga, Santi, vamos adelante. Vamos, Nico, ¿dónde ensaya, Nico? Nico, corre. Nico. A ver, amarillos corren hacia allá, ¿vale? Siempre el balón se pasa hacia arriba. Vale, sé que lo vas a hacer mejor, ¿vale? Que quiera correr ahora. Enséñale. Cerca. Vamos, Dani. Uno, todos detrás de cerca. Uno, quédate aquí, uno.
And that's it for another week. A big thank you to my guests and also to Marie-Noël Erise of MN Communications for bringing on Christopher Clover and also Marvin of Breathe. Really nice to see that we have such cool things going on in our city. Lovely to know all the people that are here, and we just need to connect to make sure that we make the most of this amazing city that we live in. Thank you for joining us. Please do check out recordings of the program from the RTV Marbella website, which is rtvmarbella.tv. You can go then to /Marbella-now for my program. You can also go to nicoleking.es for links to the show, to my column Marbella Moments in the Euro Weekly News, and our Zero Hero website. Free soft drinks for the designated drivers in all participating venues. Just signed up and went to put all the stickers at the Secret Garden in Mijas Pueblo this week. So nice to keep welcoming new businesses, because our community is better when we support each other. And road traffic safety is actually a very important issue. Over 140 nationalities drinking and driving on the same roads. So please do take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, and join us again next week of more of what's going on in Marbella Now. Hasta ahora.
You'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna